So, welcome again. We were talking about, oh no, last week we talked about how the process of listening goes with the principles. I gave you one example. That was step number 16. So, what we are doing in these 40 steps, we are understanding the briefly. I can say it's just kind of a synopsis. So then we go deeply. Welcome again. So, to last time we covered the four steps of austerity, which is known as tapa. And there is another word known as titiksha. So one is voluntary austerity, and other is, today we are going to cover involuntary austerity. So the step is why and how to endure all pairs of opposites like heat and cold, pain and pleasure. That is our topic. So that is known as uh, the titiksha. So I believe you have understood the word tapa means the effort to go into a deeper meditation by exercising your control over the body, the mind, and the speech. The tapa is done, the voluntary austerity is done to discipline, educate, and empower the body and the mind to remain calm, indifferent in different conditions. So, what happens when you practice tapa? It burns away your karma. What is that? It burns away your karma, the past impressions that causes the problems in our life, also in our practice of meditation, and also in personal, professional, and social lives. Self-study daily, for example, that comes under tapa, the voluntary austerity. Self-study, say for example, just spending 15 minutes in solitude. The world does not belong to me when I was born, and this world will not follow me when I die. So let me see what is that state. So you spend 15 minutes and half an hour, including the fasting, that also comes under the voluntary austerity. Now coming to titiksha, the involuntary austerity. Our one great master defines that. How he defines? The tolerating all the afflictions without caring to rectify them and still being free from the anxiety and the reaction is involuntary austerity. So when I was thrown by the destiny to this great country, I had a very small house, rented house. So I have to pay the rent. We were four people, very small rented accommodation. So do you feel irritated that last time you had a big house? No. It comes under involuntary austerity. We are going slowly. So these four steps in the involuntary austerity makes you aware, raise your awareness level. And that awareness dissolves the duality that pops up in the mind. It is a great support to go into the higher state of meditation. So we have physical titiksha, we have vocal titiksha, we have mental titiksha. Means at the physical level, at the level of the speech, and at the level of the mind. Now, what is the secret? The masters are saying when you enter into this involuntary austerity, what it does, you'll be surprised that titiksha is practiced to minimize the impact of ego in daily life. That very ego sense dissolves. And ultimately, it is reduced to zero. Take an example of the physical titiksha, and that we do almost every day. If you hurt physically, huh, unconsciously you say, "I'm sorry." You know, it doesn't work. Sorry has become so unconscious and habitual that it does not affect our mind. But now see, ego is inserted at the minimum level when there is a physical hurt. The ego is more hurt at the vocal level. How crazy you are. You see that? And it hurts at the peak, at the thought level. That guy was saying that you are the worst person, so it is a thought. It hurts me for a longer time. You see that? How the masters are talking about that it minimizes the involuntary austerity, minimizes that very ego sense in us. The word, now take up the first one today. The first one says, why and how to endure all pairs of opposites like heat and cold comes under physical austerity. We do not get favorable condition outside in terms of our, house, profession, food, weather, temperature, comfort level. Sometimes we start blaming our nation, our community, our society. Sometimes we start blaming our parents. We do not have a choice of birth. Parents, their state of health, their wealth. So we are placed in conditions that are unfavorable, more challenging than we have little control. There comes the involuntary austerity. Meaning we should tolerate them happily with an indifferent attitude towards them. It will build patience and resilience. You can recall the tolerating of all. Say, for example, the Socrates. Do you know that Socrates' wife was very cruel? And he had many disciples, followers. So every time he used to go to his house with the followers, his wife used to throw all the kitchen stuff on him and on his disciples. And it continues to happen for 10 years. After 10 years, one of the disciples of Socrates asked his master, I want to marry. What is your opinion? He was witnessing that so that almost all followers were hurt one day or the other. Socrates looked into his eyes and said, get married. The disciple asked, what do you say? I have been witnessing. You have been having such a big problem with every day. Even we get hurt. Socrates said, if you get married, if you get a wonderful wife, both the worlds will be fine. You have already learnt everything from me. And if you had a wonderful wife, then both the worlds, the material world and the spiritual world, will be fine. But if you get the wife like me, no worries. The world will get another Socrates. That is what the involuntary austerity is. Now look at the deeper import of this involuntary austerity. This involuntary austerity is very well founded in Eastern wisdom. What we say, that there is one common element that is present. The water, common element present in all the waves, the flood, the foam. Similarly, that common element is present everywhere. That is what the existence is. There is no two. So when there is no two, how anyone can hurt me? I live with that attitude. When you start living with that attitude, the mind remains pure. Are you getting it? I'm going little. So it is like, that is one thing to understand. So now what happens? The seeker examines the external condition and environment consciously. Lara, a few weeks ago, said, what should we do? Yes, we should follow involuntary austerity. Everything falls into the right place. It will happen if you have that trust. So seeker examines external condition, environment consciously and finds them. It cannot be changed at this moment. What should I do? Apply involuntary austerity. The seeker knows with clarity and conviction that there is no place where evil, the vice, is present in the world. There is a little different principle in Eastern wisdom, and the Western philosophy is more dominated by the principles of Christianity. So we talk of vampire, evil, vice. We say there is no vice that can exist in the world. There is only one common element. We start with that idea because the moment you say there is a vampire and there is a evil, then the fear takes over. So we say that fear and the anxiety is because of ignorance in the mind. You have to get out of the ignorance. Practice involuntary austerity. First part of involuntary austerity. It's such a beautiful once we understand and do it. Second part is that all problems are problems of ignorance. All problems. The seeker lives and works with the clarity and conviction that conflict, problem, suffering is caused by illusion. That is the product of ignorance. So whenever I have a problem, let me close my eyes and contemplate and think that which part of this problem I am missing. Let me find out. Let me discover. Sit in solitude. Go back. Look again and again. Say, for example, in our relationship with the near and dear ones, if someone hurts you, go back first. First contemplate. Why my mind felt the hurt? How should I change my expression? What should be done? That comes under involuntary austerity. That is the way these masters, they declare that evil does not exist at all. It is the darkness that is the absence of light. The light is wisdom, knowledge of the reality at all times. When I live into that knowledge of reality all the time, there is no darkness. There is no evil. When there is a wisdom, ignorance disappears. Understand one more part in involuntary austerity. What is your thinking? The water boils at 100 degree and water freezes down at 0 degrees Celsius. So my master used to say that 0 degrees Celsius is less hot and 100 degrees Celsius is less cold. The mind perceives it too, but essentially they are one. Are you getting it? They are essentially one. They are not two. Similarly, the pain and the pleasure are essentially one. It is perceived two because of my ignorance. If someone punches you, you feel hurt. You give the same pressure in your physical exercises. That gives you pleasure. The impact on the body is the same. One hurts you. Do you see that? One hurts you and one gives you the pleasure. No, I will build my physical agility. So, mind in ignorance creates opposite forces. That needs to be understood. So, what happens? The involuntary austerity breaks that cycle of opposites. Breaks that cycle of opposites. Simply, you live, you don't worry about it. You don't care. It doesn't mean you tolerate. You don't rectify. For example, take an example at the home. The kids behave sometime differently. And you as a parent want to push him. Why don't you understand? Don't push them. Just tell them that let us sit together. Whatever you are doing, my perception is different. Think it again, make a right choice and follow it. Krishna, you already know, the originator of yoga. He says equal to friend and enemy. Where? Inside. Equal to honor and insult, pleasure and pain, praise and blame, grief and happiness, heat and cold. Not attached to a person or a thing. That is what is involuntary austerity. That is what the involuntary austerity. Krishna further says, silent in the mind, content, and well satisfied with anything and everything. It doesn't mean that you are not working in your profession. You continue to work. Do you remember the second principle? Nitya karma and namitya karma? That I should be working. My profession, I must be working. I must do the work. But I erase from my mind the desire for fruits of an action and the ego sense. So this is what the Krishna is saying. What is involuntary austerity? Silent in the mind. Content and well satisfied with anything and everything. Not attached to anything. There is a firmness in the mind that leads to involuntary austerity. So what happens when you follow this physical austerity? Now what happens? The body will not move at all. Body will not disturb you in any practice of meditation. It will not create a cycle of pain and the pleasure. And you will commit yourself to go into the highest state of meditation. Let us start our journey of meditation. Eyes are closed and eyes are closed. Just looking inside the head. Looking inside the head. Do you remember the Shreyas in the prayers? Shreyas is the path of what is right and good. And the prayers is what I like and what is pleasant to me. So you make yourself free from what you like and what is pleasant to you. That also comes under involuntary austerity. You stay where? What is right and good. To whom? To yourself. We become good person to ourselves. Leave the world outside. When you are good to yourself, you are good to everyone. Simple understanding. I'll be introducing these principles from now so that we can go a little deeper. The stage one now, looking at the body, awareness of the body, feeling the body, sensation in the body, and then looking inside the heart or the head, in the space. What do I see in the space? I look at a point in the space and check if that point is giving you an experience of spark of calmness. That is enough. Spark is enough. Gradually, regularly, when the mind knows, one day it says, calmness is already there, what I'm doing. What will happen? That spark will grow. Being comfortable, moving the mind on the neck joint, being there, sensation, being comfortable, and steadiness. Shoulder joints, feeling the sensation, being comfortable, and steadiness. Mind is looking at the hip joint, and you are aware, you know it, you feel the sensation, you are not doing anything. That's why I emphasize in being comfortable, not becoming comfortable, is a very subtle involuntary austerity. You see that these principles sometimes overlap, but they give you a deeper insight. Move the mind on the entire body, from the top of the head to the toes. Being comfortable, sensation, and the steadiness. What a beautiful state you all are in. That is the way. Being carefree, free from all the cares of the mind. Do you remember any metaphor? Water on the surface and deep inside, standing across a road in the traffic moving, so mental traffic moving, and the other part of the mind is deeper inside, watching, witnessing, is being carefree. Anything comes. What it means? Anything comes which was not there in my mind. Now it has come. It will not be there. That is a perfect way of being carefree. I have a little experience now. It was not there before. So it means what was not there before, and now it is there, it will go. You see that? That attitude, that awareness. So is it not an involuntary austerity? Look at it. How the masters got a deeper insight in being carefree and then being casual, being casual. You work for 10 hours, reach your home, sit in a living room, stretching your body, and say, yes, now I am free. So, do you have that awareness that take the word lightly, not seriously? That is all. I'm done with it. That is also being casual. Second stage, we will continue our journey of purification of the mind. So, looking inside the belly button today, and becoming aware of the spark of the calmness. And now start breathing. Quick, short, and the playful breath from both the nostrils. Continue playful breathing from both the nostrils, keeping the body steady, maintaining your awareness of being comfortable, being carefree, and being casual. And stop this. What did we learn with the involuntary austerity? The experiences comes and goes. We are discovering the experiencer. So we are okay. We feel fresh, thank you. We feel clear, okay. We feel the sensation, okay. Now start breathing deep, silent and slow inhalation. Check that. Every inhalation is deeper than the previous one. And while breathing out, lips together, looking deep inside the forehead. You see, there are many points. Start humming sound. Longer, deeper, louder. Sound should put the mind deep inside the forehead where it is happening. Again, while inhalation, it is deep, silent, and slow. We understood few weeks ago the humming sound should be prominent inside the forehead. Yes, it should cover all around the head and the neck and the body. That is okay. But more, it should originate. Continue. And stop this humming sound, but continue deep, silent, slow inhalation and exhalation. It should not trigger any reaction or any pressure to your mind. So deep, silent, slow breath continues, moving the mind during inhalation from the crown of the head to the tailbone in the space in the spine, and dropping Om Shanti 5 times. During exhalation, the mind rises from the tailbone to the top of the head, and dropping Om Shanti 5 times. I know these steps are helping all of you. The mind is understanding, accepting. So we want to go a little deeper into these steps before I change steps. So when you're dropping Om Shanti, okay, and then you see the space, Om Shanti. See this space, Om Shanti. See this. You're dropping Om Shanti. Any thought comes, before it enters into the mind, you're already dropping Om Shanti and realizing the inner space. Can I say it is also an involuntary austerity? You see that? We'll cover those 3 steps next time. It's such a beautiful way to have a clarity of understanding, followed by and now leave this, but continue with the deeper breathing. For the stage 3, the nyasa will become so softer and gentler, deeper. Moving the mind when the breath goes in from inside the right arm. from the shoulder to the fingertips, or from the fingertips to the shoulder in the space. So we are 100% clear. The space within is the highway. The breathing is our car, and the mind is the driver. That mind finds out that there is an emptiness. You see, you're doing some active steps. Even in the active step, you discover emptiness. That takes you deeper, much deeper. And now inside the left arm, you realize it's a unique journey. Any meditation, every practice that I give to anyone, it is a conscious journey. We both know what we are doing. That is extremely important. When a teacher says, do this, this will happen, you know, we enter into the area of mysticism, cult, dogma, belief. None of these is here. Why? That is what our master says. Every master. So that's how I always love to explain. And now inside the right leg. What happens? Your mind seems to dissolve, melt the body. So what happens? You find you are already into the infinite space. But how this happened? The mind consciously disconnected with the name, form, shape of the body. It doesn't mean that it is not taking care of the essential functioning of the body. Sometimes people have misunderstanding. We are not touching anything the science talks about it. Now moving the mind inside the left leg. We want to help the mind to discover that what it takes if the body is not there. The body is in the mind. Continue. You have done the left leg? Yes. That left leg done. Now moving the mind inside the spine. Top of the head to the tailbone, tailbone to the top of the head. We need not to do a lot of stuff, people talk in Kundalini meditation. Their brand it is Kriya. When the mind lives with the prana in the spine, prana and the mind merges. Beautiful. I appreciate all of your commitment to yourself. Leave the step, leave the deep silence, slow breath. We move into the passive steps in the stage 4. Okay, you're casually looking inside the heart and the space. Spark of the calmness continues to grow. Just be there. And the moment any thought comes, superimpose Om Shanti. I have already explained you very gently. With this, as if you with an inner smile on the face. Oh, thought has come. Om Shanti. It is gone. Don't do it as a reaction. What is it? See practically how the involuntary austerity works. You experience that. Oh, this is the way. And this we can take into our daily life, in our relationship, in our personal, professional, social life. Continue Om Shanti. You already know. For every question you ask, and I give you the answer Om Shanti. For every thought enters into the mind, you answer with Om Shanti. That is the key in the stage 4. And leave this Om Shanti also. In the stage 5, we casually walk our mind inside the crown of the head, become aware of the spark of the calmness, and just casually drop Om. You see, when I say David, Stephen, Jerry, you instantly become aware. So that's how we are saying Om means we found it inside the forehead. We found it. Om melts away. inside the heart, casually, belly button, and then returning from the belly button to the heart, to the head, to the crown of the head. And what will happen the moment you drop merges? The mind doesn't want to move. Let it be. So, stay there. You got into a deeper state. Why? We'll understand that. And leave this, looking at the breath going in, breath coming out. Here also we drop on the breath. The reason being is that breath is an action. Om is a state to transcend. All the action means the mind is totally absorbed, transcended. Casually, no change in the rate and the rhythm of the breath, my friends. Continue. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both the palms. Place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside. Know your experiences. And then bring the hands down. Wonderful. How are you, David and Jerry?
Pretty deep experience for me was started lots of noise, both thought noise and dog noise. But I was let it all go and just got very, very deep. So I don't know where it went, but it was very, very colors, I think. Now come to think of it, but
Beautiful.
so it was great.
It was great. You are a seeker. A seeker always succeeds. How are you, Jerry?
I'm good, sir. I just followed your voice throughout in the Nyasa when you use the analogy of the mind just melting the body. That's exactly what I was feeling at that point. My right leg just went forever almost. It was just kind of like my right leg never
Beautiful.
ended. And then through the Om Shanti, the oming or the Om Shanti from the crown to the tailbone, I felt like there was this larger oming out. So
Larger.
I was able to Om Shanti through the points, but there was a larger.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that.
And I really can't explain. My experience was just very deep, I think.
Very deep. You see that? That is the way to be a seeker. Yes, it happens when when there is an understanding, that understanding hits at the time of the practice. And practice reveals, oh, here it is. I remember one of the incident with my master. I'll talk about it later. How are you, Lara?
I also had a really deep experience. I processed a lot. I didn't realize that I was dealing with. And so it was interesting to kind of just watch that and then go deep. And then I don't know where I went. It was just like nothing for a little while. And then you started to bring us back.
Beautiful, beautiful. That is the way to be. And I can understand your mind is Rajasic type. And the Rajasic type mind moves to the Sattvic type by involuntary austerity. So that is why we need to understand these principles. So I could see, yes, it was deeper. How are you, Stephen?
I'm good. I experienced everything everyone else was talking about. When the Nyasa part came, I was struggling with it, And then I hear what you were talking about, and my realization is that I couldn't find my body parts to go through. So I'm trying to say, why can't I follow my right arm or my left arm? And then when you were talking about it, I said, oh. And is at that point, I remember seeing spots of yellow. And then the only other thing that I remember is when you were chanting the Om Shanti, I saw a vision of a person inside within my mind, but I couldn't say who it was. But then I saw that person was surrounded by a heart.
Beautiful, yes.
And then I could feel my heart rate start to change, where it went from very low to where I was starting to get a sense of nervousness, I would say. And then we came out of meditation. So it was something I've never experienced before. So I don't know. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that sense of nervousness is coming from the past impression deep rooted in the mind. It may be the fear and the anxiety. So it coincides, it perceives a particular experience and that fear manifests. So it has nothing to do with anything that is not good. So we discover, sometimes we go very deep into our past impression and we realize those in the form of a vision and experiences. That's quite a deeper experience. How are you, Terry?
I was having difficulty doing the.
Yes, I could see that.
But here's what I did. It became less violent, and I was trying to stop fighting it, so that it's the one being, not being very nice. It's not me.
Yes.
And yeah, so I was just doing the ohms the 5 times, and I couldn't do them. So what I did was I just saw my body as being right here, this size, and I saw the space as being really big.
Beautiful.
And I just let the Om just go straight through and forget about the body.
Yes.
The body was like a doll just hanging in the middle of space.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That is what is a deeper state. It doesn't matter whether the body moves or not. When you are separate from it, you see that separation. You have that. So today's meditation, I'm sending it within few minutes, so you have to listen to it again and again and again. And just keep it listening and see that how that involuntary austerity can. So what happens, there are two parts, pressure and the resources. So because the pressure of the problem with the Terry is much more than the resources today. Sometimes what happens, the resources overtakes the pressure of the body. So the body doesn't move, So that is what happens. So she has Parkinson's, but your body has it, you don't have it.
Right. And what's doing this to me is a pharmaceutical. This is a pharmaceutical effect. So
yes,
I feel very. It was hard for me to stop being angry about that, and just go. Okay, it's just happening to me. I'm not.
Just happening. Yes, happening to the body, not to you. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful, my friend. So how are you, Sameer?
Sir, it was really good, and I had lot of sensation in this part of my head, means upper part of my head, and now it is also after completing the meditation also there is lot of sensation on this part of my head. I don't know why. Just
Yeah,
as you
yeah.
said, no, take your breath from the upper part of your body to the lower. So it started happening little bit sensation, and it continued for a longer period of time.
Yeah, yeah, it's also deeper. When the prana merges into the mind, then the mind goes up, lifted up. That's a beautiful experience. I just want to share one of the experiences with my master, then I can have the question and answer. So you see that in a tradition that we normally touch the feet of a master, and late in the evening, when before going to sleep, we start massaging the feet. Just a kind of a service, because I wanted a closeness to my master every time. I wanted to see how this guy sleeps. What does it mean? I wanted to know everything about this. Such a great master. So I was massaging the feet for about 15, 20 minutes, and he started snoring. So I got up, I folded my hand, I closed my eyes, and when the moment I opened my eyes, master was sitting. How dare you feel that the master ever sleeps? Said, okay. I didn't say anything, but it was very young days, almost 25 years ago. So I said, no, I have to find out. He seems to be crazy too. He is snoring, then he means sleeping. We should be very clear. So second time it happened, third time, second time also, I was massaging after 1 hour. I feel tired. And then he was snoring. Again, I said, and he got up again. I did it almost 15 times. And at the 16th time, he said that this is not enough. When I said that the enlightened never sleeps, his body sleeps, that's why the body is snoring. See the difference. That was his message. So that inspired me too much. Oh, is it possible to maintain a witness consciousness when your body is in deep sleep? So that is what is yoga nidra is. That is what the yoga nidra, when we say the body sleeps, the mind remains awake. But unless I separate them both, it cannot happen. And you feel that separation, then you live into that state. So almost I would say 15 or 16 times, he said, is it not enough? Are you not clear about it? But he never became angry. He never reacted to me. So this thing happens. Any question you have, Lara? So that is all. We will pick up our journey next